Hi everybody, this is Bogus Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a Throwback Thursday review on the McFarlane Toys Clive Barker's Tortured Souls Series 2, the Fallen Camille Noire figure. So Camille Noire only comes with one accessory, and it's a base. She is wearing these really big heels, so she does benefit from using that. I believe the base is just reused from maybe Gunslinger or Spawn. I'm pretty sure a Spawn figure used this base. So now let's go ahead and take a look at her head sculpt. Just like with all of the Tortured Souls figures, she has a very interesting head sculpt. The sculpt to it is very nice. You can see that the top of her head there is wrapped in barbed wire and she has a saw blade through it. And on the back, you can see her skull cap and some nice blood paint on it as well as the saw. It's actually articulated. You can move it like that, but you can see that this kind of slides up and down. And that does look a little bit funny, but I do think it's cool that you can actually spin the saw blade around like that. I do wish there would have been just a little bit more blood, especially around here though. She has these massive wings, and these look really nice. They're cast in a translucent plastic and have skin tone painted over top of them, as well as some nice red paint over the edges where it's connected to these hooks, and that looks really nice. The stitches where all of the skin is stitched together looks very nice. These wings are sculpted very well. You even get some texturing to them. They look fantastic. I do wish they would have found a better way to integrate the skin where it's her skin attached to the wings a little bit better, because you can tell where it's a separate piece. And I feel like it's a little bit distracting on both sides. You get some gappage right here and it's pretty noticeable. The metal pieces attaching the wings are sculpted really nicely. They have a subtle black wash to them. You can tell that black wash right here, as well as some texturing. It does bother me that they're not the same. The wings have different designs. As you can see, her left side is up just a little bit higher. The right side is a little bit lower and has different design to it. You actually had to put all of these hooks through her wings here, and that was a little tricky. These are very fragile little plastic hooks, so I was afraid I was going to break them. But once you get them attached, it does look pretty good. You attach them up here and then on the hooks. Where you attach the wings up here into her back, you can swivel them very slightly. I don't know if it's meant to be that way or not, but you can move it very slightly. Another thing that's kind of frustrating is you do have this piece that's articulated right here, but the hook goes through the wing, and even if it doesn't, it would only move up and down slightly. I really don't like this blade back here where it's positioned. Looking at the inside of the wings, it has some very nice bloody paint detail. You can see where her back is skinned, the muscle showing. Some nice glossy blood paint right there, as well as some blood splatter over the whole figure. She does have a very subtle, it's like a bluish paint to her. Right here, you can see it on the right bicep. You can see that she has some barbed wire wrapped around her right arm right here and some blood paint around it. That's actually done pretty well. You can see the silver in the center and the blood paint on the outside of it. She has, it almost looks like a railroad spike driven through her wrist right here. You can see the skinned portion of her left bicep. It has a hook through it. The corset, I guess you could consider that a corset, is sculpted really nicely. It's painted in glossy black with some silver details for the metal parts. You can see where she has more of that, I think it's more like a purple wash. It's a very weird color right here. On the skin portion of her left leg right here, this is actually real material. I think it's like mesh that's supposed to look like fishnet. And I really thought this was just sculpted really well. I'm like, that is painted and sculpted really well because you can see the muscles underneath in this. But no, this is actually real material. And I think that looks great because of that. She has a hook going through her left leg, some more of those railroad spike looking things. It almost looks like she took a boomerang to the shin right here. You can see where the skin is sewn together right there. It's painted really nicely, it just looks a little funny. You get these ribbons coming out from the back of her skirt right here. They're actually glued up here in the skirt part. As I said, she has these massive heels that make it so she can't stand without this stand. It kind of reminds me of the heels that Patrick had in the SpongeBob movie. And then she has some very, very nice sculpting to her dress. The texturing there is done very well. And it looks like it has a little bit of paint variation to it too, like a little bit of gray paint over top of it. So yeah, this is another very well sculpted Tortured Souls figure. McFarlane Toys always went above and beyond with the sculpt and paint detail on these. So now let's go ahead and go over her articulation. She has a swivel neck, but it barely moves side to side. Because of these posts in her back that the wings are attached to, it really barely moves. I do think that this neck piece should have been glued down and the swivel should have been up here at her head, but it isn't. As I said, the saw blade does move all the way around. She has swivel shoulders that can move up that far before they hit on the wings. This one can't move down at all. This one can move back all the way. She has swivel wrists that can move all the way around. Let's take her off the base. And she has hips. The articulation isn't great on them. The most you're going to get her doing is that. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here she is next to Angelique from Hellraiser, and I feel like the designs are similar. They're of course different, but I do feel like they do have some similarities. Here she is next to Luce Sadiq. I couldn't get her to stand, so I ended up reusing one of my McFarlane stands. This modern stand, which is what you get with all the DC Multiverse, they're all just painted a little bit differently, actually works really well on her. Here she is next to Vino Anatomica. And finally, there she is next to the Mongoloid. So overall, if you're into the older McFarlane figures and the Clive Barker stuff, then I'd highly recommend picking this up because she is a very cool figure. This series did say that it upped the ante from the first wave, and I don't necessarily think these designs are more intense than the first wave. I mean, how do you really outdo Talisac? I don't think you can. So despite this figure not being quite as extreme as the Wave 1 figures, I still think she's a very cool figure. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.